Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has hidden unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure, or admire an old one. What will we find today? Let's dig in. Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
When Pilate questioned Jesus, he asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus, the king of the universe, maker of all things, ruler of the visible and invisible, told him, "My kingdom is not of this world." Pilate didn't understand Jesus' kingship. Neither did the people who called him King of Israel when he had entered Jerusalem a few days before. His disciples didn't even understand his concept of being king. Just the night before, they'd been fussing about who was going to be the greatest when he became king. So he had to show them what kind of king he was by washing their feet. Even then, he knew they wouldn't understand. How can someone be a king and a servant at the same time? Like many biblical concepts, these two ideas only make sense from an eternal, godly perspective. Psalm 145:13 through 20, a song of praise to the Lord, shows what a perfect king is like and how he serves his subjects. Verse 13 says, "Your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and your dominion endures through all generations." No earthly kingdom can claim to be everlasting. There's always limits in time and space, boundaries. With God, there's none of that. He made the whole world, and He's the king over all, even those who don't believe, for all generations. No beginning, no end. I'll read the rest of the passage, and then we'll look to see what our king is like. "The Lord upholds all those who fall and lifts up all who are bowed down. The eyes of all look to you, and you give them the food at the proper time. You open your hand and satisfy the desires of every living thing. The Lord is righteous in all His ways and loving toward all He has made. The Lord is near to all who call on Him, to all who call on Him in truth. He fulfills the desires of those who fear Him. He hears their cry and saves them. The Lord watches over all who love Him, but all the wicked He will destroy." These verses show us who God is as our King and gives us promises of how He will treat His subjects. They're so rich and full of meaning. Look at verse 14. "He upholds all who are falling and raises up all who are bowed down." Most kings wouldn't care so much about their subjects individually, but our King reaches down and lifts up those who are falling. Psalm 37:24 says, "Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, because the Lord holds his hand." Who ever heard of a king that walks beside his people and holds their hand? Well, that's the kind of king you have. And his specialty is restoration. And how about those who are bowed down carrying a big load? Remember what Jesus said? "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." He comforts, cheers, strengthens. Verse 15 says, "The eyes of all look to you, and you give them food in due season." You know, we like to think we're independent, but we're actually wholly dependent on God for everything in our life. Just think of food. We can work hard and raise a vegetable garden, but I found that even if I water the garden during a dry spell, it doesn't get all the nutrients that it would from the rain that God sends. He's the one who makes things grow, and each season is something new and different. Verse 16 says, "You open your hand, you satisfy the desire of every living thing." Our God is generous, always giving from His unlimited store. And it's not only those who submit to His kingship that get fed. Every living thing gets His care, attention, and generosity. Rain falls on the evil and on the good. He clothes the flowers of the field and cares for the sparrows. Is there any doubt that He cares for you, one who He's created in His image? Verse 17 doesn't sound like most government administrations, does it? But our King is righteous in all of His ways and kind in all of His works. Unlike human governments that are corrupted by sin and selfishness, God, our King, is holy and just. He can't be otherwise. We can trust him to do what is right. We'll have to leave the rest of this passage for tomorrow, but today, let's think about God as King of our hearts. He has undisputed authority everywhere else, but in our hearts, he allows us to choose. Will we allow him to be on the throne, to rule instead of our own pride, to make daily decisions large and small, to undisputedly have first place in our lives?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to share a treasure God has given you by doing an episode, please contact us. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you'll find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.